on this. Ta-da!
You should see what else you can do.
What's up, YouTuberverse? It's your boy RB back again for another one. Y'all, I'm so hyped for the NFL season coming up. It is right around the corner. But I have noticed that the NFL has been treating its running backs the same way Leonardo DiCaprio treats supermodels. They both pick them up fresh out of college, use them until they want a long-term commitment, tell them, I'm sorry, your contract is up, then dump them and move on to the next one. Let's talk about it. Nuance Machine, episode 45. Let's kick it. All right, before we get started, please hit that like and subscribe button. Also, please check out my shop, breezysprints.com, where you can find all original designs printed on high-quality tees, tank tops, sweatshirts, and hoodies. All designs are done by yours truly, and without further ado, let's get into it. Football season is really close, and I can feel it. And this running back issue is really interesting to me. I was a running back from Pee Wee all the way through high school. Graduated high school in the mid-2000s. I didn't play college or pro, obviously, but I love the position. The reason I love the position so much is because back then, running backs were the only players on the field that rivaled quarterbacks when it came to star potential. I watched players like Adrian Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk, Frank Gore, Edgerrin James, Ricky Williams, Jamal Lewis, Priest Holmes, Chris Johnson, Fred Taylor, Jerome Bettis, Corey Dillon, Eddie George, Larry Johnson, and I could keep going on, but you get the point. A lot of these guys were way bigger stars than the quarterbacks that were handing them the ball. There were so many star running backs in the late 90s and early 2000s that I looked up to. And these guys were workhorses. They were the focus of their team's offense. And these guys would rush for 1,500 yards on a regular basis, easy. But now that's not the case because the NFL has a running back problem and they need to figure out how to fix it. The position is dying, not just because of less and less use, but also because NFL franchises have used analytics to figure out how to get the most out of the position for the least amount of money. The days of franchise running backs getting huge contracts might be over. Running backs have some of the shortest NFL careers compared to other positions at only an average of 2.57 years. It's a really punishing position to play. So because running backs' careers are shorter and they typically have lots of injuries, the analytics say that teams should not use high draft picks to get running backs. So since like the early 2010s, we've been seeing fewer and fewer running backs taken in the first round of the NFL draft. And if you do take a running back early in the first round, the Todd McShays and the Mel Kipers will tell you that's a stupid pick. But now we're seeing a new trend. So the NFL has a couple wonky rules. Like if you draft a player in the first round, you can sign that player to a 4-year rookie contract with a 5th-year team option. So instead of the typical standard 4-year rookie contract. So as an example, that's why Jalen Hurts already signed an extension because he was drafted in the 2020 draft, but in the second round. If he was drafted in the first round, he would have another 2 years left on his rookie deal instead of just 1 year, and they could have put off offering him an extension for another year at least. Compare that to quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round, like Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa. They haven't signed long-term extensions yet, and they're still on their rookie contracts for now, for at least another year. So the average NFL running back is 2.57 years, like I said. If you're a really good running back with lots of skills and some longevity, you can last maybe 6 or 7, maybe even 8 or 9 years. But that is rare. So what you're seeing a lot of teams do now is that they will draft that top tier running back in the first round now. Instead of waiting for the second or third round, they're going to go ahead and draft that quarterback in the first round. That guarantees them 5 seasons with that player. And even if that player is not productive, they can cut him after 4. But then what we're seeing is no matter how productive that running back is, that running back will be cut or not be offered an extension that reflects their production. So after getting 5 or 6 years out of a running back, there's no remorse out of letting them go and repeating the process because analytics show that running backs already beat the odds by lasting for 5 to 6 years to begin with. See what I mean? There are so many examples of this happening around the league, and it's really alarming. You got Ezekiel Elliott was signed to a large extension 3 years ago because Jerry Jones has this weirdo obsession with Zeke. The man loves him some Zeke, okay? Kind of like how Calvin Candy loves him some Steven. Anyway, everyone thought this was a horrible signing. Analysts were confused. Cowboys fans were mad. Eagles fans were pointing and laughing. And 3 years later, they realized they made a mistake.
I've made a huge mistake.
And they just cut him. And you can also see they're trying not to make that same mistake with Tony Pollard. Have they offered Tony Pollard an extension?
Nope.
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 Nope. Nope.
Nope. And he just had career highs in rushing yards, rushing attempts, receiving yards, and all-purpose yards. But no extension for you. Dalvin Cook has made the Pro Bowl every season for the past 4 seasons and was let go by the Vikings. Hell, my Eagles did the exact same thing to Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders has been our starting running back for the past 4 seasons. After that rookie contract was up, they told him to get to stepping. Now, he was able to get a contract from the Panthers for 4 years, $25 million, but the Eagles replaced him with DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny for a fraction of the price. You got 2 guys that are proven running backs that are similar in age to Miles Sanders, but at a fraction of the price. Swift and Penny cost the Eagles $3 million combined. You add Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell, and the Eagles' stable of good proven running backs cost them a total of a little over $6 million for this next season. Meanwhile, the Panthers will be paying Miles Sanders more than $6 million a year for the next 4 years. This is why so many people are calling Howie Roseman a genius, but all he's doing is taking advantage of the rules, which unintentionally devalue the running back position. Hell, Saquon Barkley was just in a standoff with the Giants, and he eventually caved. He's one of the top 5 running backs in the NFL, without a doubt. He's a star, and he can't get a star-like contract. It's wild. So I can see this trend hurting the NFL in the long run. College players and even high school players are going to see this and want to change positions, or they may choose a different sport altogether. You're going to see parents talk their kids out of wanting to be running backs because they literally take the most punishment and get the least amount of money. They don't get paid nearly as well as wide receivers or quarterbacks, yet they're taking way more punishment. You're already seeing fewer and fewer parents allowing their kids to play football. Now one of the game's star positions is in flux. It's no longer a attractive position. Look, how does the NFL fix this? Look, I'm just a guy, but I do have an idea of having a salary cap per position. Now, of course, the problem with this is the politics of figuring out how big of a slice of the pie each position should get. Not everybody's going to be happy with what they get, and that could cause some problems, but at least in this case, you can give running backs larger contracts without worry that they'll be eating too much of your overall cap because the position itself is capped. Let me explain this a little bit better. So there's roughly 10 positions on a football team. You got quarterback, running back, offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, defensive line, linebacker, defensive back, kicker, and punter. Technically, you can add long snapper, kick and punt returner, and fullback, but all those positions are typically done by people who play other positions. They play on the O-line or wide receiver or running back. So I'm calling it 10 positions. Current salary cap is at $224.8 million. So let's just call it $225 million for the sake of easy math because I'm no mathematician. So you got $225 million divided by 10 positions. That's $22.5 million per position. Now, obviously, you're not going to pay your kickers and punters that kind of money. So let's take some of their money and disperse it to the O-line and the quarterback. So I gave the O-line I gave the quarterback $7.5 million and the O-line $10 million and left the kickers and punters $5 million. I did this because quarterback is obviously the most important position, and every team keeps more offensive linemen on their roster than anything else. There's 5 offensive line positions. Every position has a backup. That's 10 offensive linemen on each team at least. Some teams keep a few more. Look, I'm getting into the weeds with this, but my point is that hypothetically, if the running back salary cap is $22.5 million, then teams have plenty of room to sign their star running backs to extensions while also being able to afford reliable backups. That way, these teams can sign these running backs with far less fear of them getting injured later in their career. I know my solution isn't perfect. I haven't thought it all the way through. But the NFL has way smarter people than me working for them, and they need to figure this out before the running back position becomes extinct. Yeah, it's going to be off of this one, guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Can't wait.
Love you guys. Peace.
Dark side, light this bitch up.